guys, Howard here with Bring On the Night by the Police. I got a lot of requests for more Police, and specifically for this one. This is a really cool tune. It's typical early Police in that there's an A section and a B section, okay? So Andy employs a little bit of classical technique here, which is really cool. But other than that, the tune is actually pretty easy to play. You've got this part, which is sort of the classical thing, and then the B part, which is very typical reggae-influenced Police. So let's get started with it. Now, the first thing you want to know is the shapes that Andy's using, okay? It's all double stops with the E string, the first E string being open continually. So what we have is the D string and the B string on the 10th fret. And you can see that I'm playing that with my second finger and my ring finger. And we're going to use just those two strings again with the open E at the bottom, but we'll talk about that when we get there. First, what you want is to just find out what the shapes are, and there's only two of them. And then we move to the 8th fret on the B string and the 9th fret on the D string. So we'll be using just those two shapes, and this shape will always be played with these fingers, and this shape will always be played with those fingers, okay? So we move from that to this, and then to both strings at the 7th fret. So once again, we want to use those two fingers. So we have, then we move back to 10, and then take that shape all the way down to 5. So now we have, and then to cap it off, we go all the way up to the 12th fret, both strings at the 12th fret, back to 10, and then we finally end it with 8 and 9. So those are the shapes that Andy's using. So now that we've got the shapes, we need the specific finger picking pattern that he's using. And as a note, I'm in standard tuning. I've got a very clean tone going on my telly and a pretty healthy dose of chorusing. I could be using even more, but I want you to be able to really hear the notes. So let's start with that first position, 10 and 10, okay? So what we want to do is we want to play the D string with our thumb, then the B string with your first finger, and then the open E string with the next finger, your middle finger. And the pattern we have is a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So we have D, B, E, D, B, E, D, B. And then you move to the next position and simply repeat the same thing. 7, back to 10, all the way down to 5, all the way up to 12, back to 10, and then 8 and 9. Now, if you've never done this before, it can take a little bit of getting used to get that pattern going, but once you get it into your fingers, it flows pretty nicely. And you repeat it, and that's the whole finger-picked portion of the song. And then we go into the next part, which is pretty much just straight ahead reggae, okay? And for this section, all of the chords land on the upbeat, okay? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and. And you want to play that twice, and you can see I'm just using the back of my hand, basically flicking my fingers, because you're going to have to go right back to the... So unless you can sort of spit the pick out of your mouth real quickly and catch it in your hand, I don't know. I just used to play it like that live, do the finger picking and then go into the... it's easy to get right back to the... Okay, so let's talk about those chords. The chord progression, sometimes you hear these first two chords referred to as minor sevenths, but really they're major chords. They're just inverted major chords. Because the chord progression, if you follow Sting's bass line, is actually based on G major, A major, then A minor, E minor, seventh if you like, to D. That's it. So that actually makes those first two chords majors. So what we have is G major, and you can see the shape of it on the screen. So I'm at the 7th fret with my first finger, and we're just going to move that shape around. Now we're going to move it up a whole step, which makes it an A. Okay, so we've got... And you can see I'm really popping those chords and making them staccato. I kind of use the side of my hand to do that and just stop it like that. But I also let the pressure off the chords, so whatever works best for you is totally fine. I do a little bit of both, and then we take it all the way up to the 12th fret, where Sting does play an A in the bass, so that technically makes that an A minor 7th, but you're still just playing the same shape, okay? So we have... Bring it back down to the 7th fret, where it now becomes an E minor 7th because Sting goes into a E in the bass. And then he drops down to a D in the bass, and Andy just drops down to that, just barring straight across the first 4 strings at the 7th fret. So that whole progression then is 1 and 2 and 3. And you kind of hear him do that at the end of that chord. So I'll leave that up to you if you want to toss that in. And then it's just right back to the fingerpick part. And that's basically the song, Bring On the Night by the Police. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys real soon.